All right, let's get right into it. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we are going to completely demystify one of the absolute must-know tools in maternity nursing, the GTPAL acronym. If you're prepping for your nursing lecture exams or the NCLEX, you are definitely going to encounter scenarios that ask you to assess pregnancy outcomes using this exact framework. I know it can look like a jumble of letters and numbers at first glance, but by the time we wrap up today, you'll be calculating these scores with total confidence.
So here is how we're breaking things down today. First up, what exactly is GTPAL? Then, we'll break down the acronym itself, go over the super important multiples rule, practice a real scenario, and finally, calculate our final score.
Section 1. What is GTPAL?
Basically, GTPAL is simply an acronym we use in the medical field to assess and track a patient's pregnancy outcomes. When you're sitting for your exams, you're going to see these big, complex patient scenarios. They'll throw a ton of info at you, telling you a woman is currently pregnant, she has a certain number of living children, they were born at specific weeks of gestation, maybe she has a history of miscarriages. You have to take that whole giant paragraph of information, dissect it, and organize it right into this 5-letter formula so you can nail the correct multiple choice option. It's really all about organization.
Moving on to Section 2. Breaking down the acronym.
Let's look at exactly what these letters mean, because they are strictly defined. G stands for gravity. Simply put, this is the total number of times a woman has been pregnant. T is for term birth. This counts the number of kids born at 37 weeks onward. P is for preterm birth, which grabs the number of children born in that window between 20 and 37 weeks of gestation. A stands for abortions or miscarriages, and finally, L stands for living children, just the number of living children the patient currently has. You've absolutely got to lock in these exact week parameters, especially that 37-week mark for term and the 20 to 37-week window for preterm.
Now, listen up, because here is the trap everyone falls for. When you're calculating G for gravidity, you must always include the current pregnancy if the patient is currently pregnant. You also have to include any past miscarriages or abortions. Remember, a miscarriage still counts as a time the woman was pregnant. I literally cannot stress this enough. Forgetting to add the current pregnancy into your gravidity calculation is the #1 reason students bomb these questions. Don't let that be you.
All right, Section 3, the multiples rule.
So, how do we handle twins or triplets? This is a huge dividing line you need to memorize. For gravida and term, meaning the actual number of pregnancies in the birthing event itself, twins and triplets count as 1. If a woman is pregnant with twins, that is still just 1 pregnancy. But when we get down to the L for living children, multiples are counted individually. For example, if a mother has healthy 5-year-old twin girls, her gravidity for that specific event is 1 because it was a single pregnancy. However, her living children count would be 2 because those twins count as individual living people. Make sure you get that rule down cold.
Okay, Section 4. Let's practice a scenario.
If you have some scratch paper handy, definitely grab it. Here's our scenario. Read this carefully. A 26-year-old female is 26 weeks pregnant. She had a miscarriage at 10 weeks gestation 5 years ago. She has a 3-year-old who was born at 39 weeks. What is her GTPAL? When you get hit with a question like this on an exam, your very first move should be to write out GTPAL straight down your paper. Then we methodically pull effects out of the paragraph and tally them underneath each letter. Let's do that together right now.
Section 5. Calculating the final score.
Let's kick things off with gravidity, the total number of times she's been pregnant. First, the scenario tells us she's currently 26 weeks pregnant. Boom, that counts as 1. Second, she had a miscarriage at 10 weeks. That was a pregnancy, so that's another 1. And finally, she has a 3-year-old child, which was obviously another past pregnancy. That's 1 more. Add all those up, and our total gravidity, our G, is exactly 3.
Moving right along, let's evaluate term and preterm births. We know there's a 3-year-old child who was born at 39 weeks. If you recall our definitions, anything 37 weeks and onward is considered term. So that fits perfectly into the term category, giving us a score of 1. Now what about preterm? The only other factor is the miscarriage, but that happened way back at 10 weeks. Since preterm only counts births between 20 and 37 weeks, our preterm score, our P, remains firmly at 0.
All right, down to the final 2 letters, A for abortions or miscarriages, and L for living children. The story explicitly mentions she had a miscarriage at 10 weeks, so we drop a 1 right into the A column. For living children, we just look at who is alive today. She has 1 3-year-old child. That gives us a 1 under the L column. And no, the current pregnancy doesn't count here, because that baby hasn't actually been born yet.
Let's pull all our individual tallies into one clean line to get the final format you'd look for on your test. G equals 3, T equals 1, P is 0, A is 1, and L is 1. See? By taking it piece by piece, what looks like an overwhelming paragraph just turns into a simple, solvable math puzzle. It all builds together so perfectly.
So, as we wrap up this explainer today, I want to leave you with a quick thought. If you walked into a room and saw a patient with twins today, could you calculate their GTPAL without falling into that multiples trap? Practice really makes perfect here. Seek out more practice scenarios, write out your acronym, and do your tallies. Before you know it, you'll be knocking out these maternity nursing exams with absolute, undeniable confidence. Keep learning, stay focused, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.